Hey there, Laker fans. Welcome to another episode of Lakers Detailed. I am your host, Vinay, with my co host, Raj. We are back, Raj, from two separate weekends. You went the first weekend of Las Vegas Summer League. I went the second weekend of Las Vegas Summer League. Not as eventful and as exciting as the weekend that you went to, which we'll discuss like almost immediately. But a lot of kind of Laker news and observations and Laker things that have happened over the course of the week. I just got back today after being there from Thursday night. Won't say I'm fully recovered from it, but I am certainly feeling the effects of 2 days in Las Vegas and all the extracurricular activities that we get to do there. How are you doing, my friend? Are you recovered all the way back from that weekend?
Yeah, it took definitely like 2 days of recovery, coming back. I just never get used to the heat. So you're walking around 105 degrees. It's 96 degrees at 8 in the morning. And so, yeah, back recovered. A lot of news that came out, but Summer League is one of my favorite parts of the year, something
Awesome.
I count down to every single year. Before it happens, with the Lakers playoff kind of woes, how they've been. But yeah, Summer League was fun. I recommend anyone to come out. Being on the media side was very interesting. Being on the back side of it
Yes.
was super fascinating. But Summer League was good, man. You went the second weekend. Must have been a lot more freeing to walk
Yes.
around, a lot less people. But yeah, that first weekend is always exciting. And Cooper Flag and Bronny Vinay, I would say that was the best environment since the Lonzo year. So
Mm.
the Wemby year was interesting. Like it definitely had the hype, but
Mhm.
he did not live up to it. Right, his first game he was struggling.
Yeah.
It was a very strange environment. But Bronny and Cooper Flag had different moments during the game that really had a really eccentric crowd. But yeah, Summer League was just a blast. And but excited to be back and talking about all the stuff around the team. I guess that's happened since then.
Yeah, so for us, like you said, there are ups and downs to the summer league. First weekend, obviously, you get to see all the top players, and they play, and then sometimes they don't play after like the second game or whatever it is that they end up doing. But the second weekend, you usually get a couple teams that they're really trying to go and win the summer league championship. It's a culture thing for them. But one of the upsides is, Raj, then the second weekend, because there is less people, it's much easier to sit really close to the court. So that was
Right.
something that I got to enjoy. Um, the fan favorite, Raj, of the weekend is a guy who just got signed to a two-way contract by the Chicago Bulls, Japanese guard Yuki Kawamura. He is one of the smallest players. I think he played with Memphis last year.
Yes.
And that dude gets on the floor, does really, really good stuff for his team. And the fans freaking love him. They love everything he did. Like any pass, a no look pass he throw behind, like he was wheeling and dealing, and the fans
Let me.
loved him.
I just want to ask you because you were there. I didn't get to see him play.
Yes.
Is he a 5'7", 5'8", or is he
Oh
like a 5'8", 5'8", or what would you say? Because
no,
we
he's
both.
he's yeah, he's small, but he's like 5'7", 5'8". Like he's not like
Okay.
a he's like I will say this. Two things that were shocking to me. One, um, how small he is compared to everybody else. Two, how good he is compared to everybody else. I was like, at one point, I was watching the game and I was just like, this dude should not be playing in summer league. Like, he should not be fighting for his NBA life. Like, I understand, like, he's small, teams might pick on him and stuff like that, but he might be too good to play like in summer league because he finished a game with like 17 and 10, but he really should have finished that game like with 17 and 18 assists.
Mm.
And he had like 4 or 5 lobs he threw to his big men on the Bulls, and they literally missed dunks. That's what it was. They missed every dunk because they kept rimming out. I was like, this kid might be too good to play here. So I'm glad that Chicago got him on a two-way because he's way too good to be fighting for a contract. And that's really what the environment is
Yeah.
in the summer league for that. But Rod, that isn't the big news of summer league. The big news isn't Bronny versus Cooper Flag. The big news isn't whatever transaction, the Bradley Beal waiver, blah blah blah, all the stuff that we knew that was going to happen. The big news of summer league for us Laker fans is you and LeBron James being on national television together,
Yeah.
which
That's what it
was
is.
which was I mean, I was watching it. I was just like, I did that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's just like, hey, I know who that is. So I had to screenshot it as quickly as I possibly could and share it with the timeline. That was, obviously, even if it's incidental or whatever it is, it's always cool to be in a picture with a superstar of LeBron's caliber. So, I thought that was a really cool moment for you. I know that you've worked hard to get to this point, to even be in the vicinity of those sort of things. It's nothing new to you. You've interviewed players. It is what it is. But I have to know. I think the fans have to know. The most important question for me, what is it like being in that aura, that space, the vicinity? What is emanating from LeBron when you're that close to him? I need to know what that is. So I need your description of what it's like being about that close to LeBron in that kind of environment.
The best part is everyone around you going, make sure you know what your face looks like, because there's gonna be cameras everywhere coming.
And shout out to our guy Dime Dropper.
Yes.
He was in that. He was in the Lakers graphic, and I was just like, look at this guy. He's not even a Lakers fan. But no, he's a great basketball guy for the Clippers, and basketball guy in general. But yeah,
Dime loves basketball.
And Trevor was there too as well.
Trevor Lane, from Lakers Nation. Daniel from Lakers Nation. Edwin was sitting right next to me as well. But no, it was cool. LeBron is a normal dude. When you're sitting behind him, normal family guy. He was there with his wife, and his daughter. They didn't want much media around them. So they, sat right in, not in courtside area, but behind the backboard, area type place. But no, it was funny to see all the cameras come around, and you knew that, you'd be on TV in some capacity, sitting over there. And those are the best seats. Vinay, those are the best media seats in general. So at Crypto, they have something similar, but it's a little bit behind near the hallway. But this one feels pretty courtside because you're literally on the baseline. So incredible view for the game. Incredible view to be behind, right where LeBron's sitting. But no, none of his aura, I guess, came off in that moment because he never really turned around. But he was there to enjoy his son play a basketball game.
Yes.
Who, had a really good summer. I thought Bronny had a nice summer. And LeBron was there for 2 of the games supporting his son, and people were questioning if he would show up. That was the big question.
A lot of controversy. He was at who was the guy? He was at a Bad Bunny concert while a game was going on. I was just like, oh god, I'm sure Laker fans are pissed that he's not here out supporting the team. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, so he did show up and put his support. When LeBron comes in, because the whole arena, you could just hear the swell come through, people screaming. Funniest part, Vinay, is obviously we're not old, but there's a generation before us now, and so the streamers have just insane celebrity status. There's people walking around, and they're streamers because there's a cameraman following them, right? And they have it's like they're NBA superstars. This is Summer League, and you're watching what's his name? FaZe Rug or something is one of his names. And people are just going nuts. And we think it's LeBron. We're like, oh, did LeBron come in? And we look around and it's the streamer walking around with this crowd of people following him. I found that interesting. Just the generation that we're in. We were, again, no diss to any big YouTube streamers, but people are asking me who is that? And I'd explain who it is. And they'd be like, and then the subsequent question, Vinay, is what do they do? And that's where I'm not 100% sure. They're they literally just film themselves.
There's live vloggers, there's video game streamers, there's it's just I guess a lot of the younger generation folks, they just kind of experience
online. They're just online.
They're just they're continually online. That's cool. So okay, that's cool to know. Bron's aura can be normal, especially when he's in dad mode, because I know he was there with Zuri, so that was very cool. Savannah was there too as well. I was I think a lot of people always make it seem Raj, you don't watch anime, and so you don't know Bleaches, but there's always this thing where people are when LeBron shows up, there's this spiritual pressure, and everybody's just they can bear the gravity just gets more stronger, and it's hard to stand up and stuff. and just being closer to him does that. But I thought that was cool. I thought it was a really cool moment for you. that was a really cool moment for all the other folks that are Lakers media guys. As fun as summer league is, because of the casual atmosphere, it is still work for a lot of you guys. You guys got to be out there
Oh yeah.
reporting on what you see and that sort of stuff, and that's sort of it's hats off. It's cool that you guys have that opportunity. So let's talk about that. We're probably not going to get super in depth on every single player, but we do need to talk about the two main characters of summer league for most Laker fans, and one was Bronny James, and the other one was Dalton Knecht. I want to talk about Bronny first because I think Dalton is a different conversation that we have to have. You and I have watched. We've gone to a couple summer leagues where we have very, very closely tracked specific players in the sense that we have always looked for specific things in a player when they go from that first experience in summer league or that rookie year to the next year. And I would like to say the one thing that you and I are always trying to be hyper focused on in a good way is confidence. When you go from being a rookie your first year and doing summer league your first year, and then maybe you're raw, people don't know who you are, whatever it is, and then your second year in summer league, the one thing that I think you and I are always looking for, we saw this with Max Christie too, because we got to sit up close and personal to watch him in his second run in summer league. When you see the confidence change in the player in even that environment, and even though it's summer league and there's no stakes, there's a lot of people watching. Like it feels like a real game. And in Bronny's case, he's playing against guys like Cooper Flagg and that sort of thing. It was, for me, I would say for sure, Bronny's confidence, even aside from his ability, whether he has a good shooting game, bad shooting game, just the confidence in his decision making has been night and day for me. Like just watching him on that front. What did you take away from watching those games with him in it?
Yeah, so I look at it kind of from where he was after the first summer league to the first G League game to now where what he is this summer. And I think the jump and ball handling, confidence you talked about on his jump shot. I thought the pull-up jump shot is way more comfortable than it was a year ago. Wouldn't even take these type of shots. A bunch of different type of threes, some step back threes through the legs, crossover, that type of stuff. And I think the thing that jumps out to me is his skill is starting to like catch up with his athleticism, where he knows how to use, his skills to kind of leverage what his athleticism gives him. To me, that's his NBA talent, is that he's a real athletic guard. And I thought there were so many plays where like players would guard him and just be bumped off. He was able to get to the rim. He was really their only like driver on the team. I thought DJ Stewart had a really nice summer league as well, but Bronny is just a lot more physical, a lot bigger, even at the younger age. But no, it's cool. I have some questions on. I think people are starting to come around when, I was trying to tell everyone, Bronny's not Davion Mitchell. Like Bronny's not getting. He is not being pushed into this DN3 guard. He is being pushed into a on-ball guard, and I have some questions upon that. And I think that shifts or pushes forward, like whether he'll actually be a contributor anytime soon. But I think this is the exact type of like developmental curve you'd like to see him on.
Absolutely.
He didn't look too good for summer league. Like he didn't look like a guy that should not be there, but he definitely looked like a player that has gone through an NBA season and has gained some stuff from it and has got confidence and has, increased his skill. You could tell the work that's being put in. The shots he's taking are from repetition. You could tell like this is stuff that he's worked on with trainers. It's just cool to see that growth. He's a lot more comfortable. I remember one time we did this pod and you were talking about how Bronny's starting to smile a little bit more on the questions, and you could tell he's just a little bit more comfortable in his own skin in the fishbowl that he lives in. But no, I think he's developing at the exact stage that you'd want to see him. Now, will he contribute next year? I don't see it, but at least like this looks like a player like this is what a 55th overall pick in the second round should look like.
Yeah. I know for me, just like I am invested in like his success, especially considering the health scare he kind of went through. Like, I certainly want him to succeed, to be whatever the ceiling can be for him. I don't know if that's a star level guy, a 20 points a game kind of guy. It might not be, but just to have for a kid that's really working his way out of working from the very bottom, basically, of the totem pole here to some degree. it is cool to see him at least have that confidence, because that can be a huge difference a lot of times for a player like him. Once the confidence comes, then it turns into ability, and then once the ability is there, then it just becomes skill work. Can you improve your skill work? And once your skill work is there, now all of a sudden you're a completely different player, and you can make that huge leap that people want to play. So it's great. That's really awesome to see. I share your same observations. Some of those threes that he was taking, either off the catch or just the pull-up ones that he was taking behind screens, they looked way more comfortable. They look good coming out of his hand, and they look way more comfortable. Like he knew he wanted to take that three. There was no confusion about what he was going to do before he did it. That I thought that was really great. But Raj, on the other side, Dalton Knecht had a very rough summer league. And I think a lot of people are down on him in the sense that they feel like he has regressed. Now, I will say this. People are saying that because he had a poor summer league showing, he has lost. And we're not going to get into this part, but he's lost a value as like a first round pick. And I would heavily disagree with that, because people don't use summer league as like an indicator of like, oh, is this guy's trade value going up or going down? Obviously, unless he gets hurt or something like that. Summer league is a very different environment for the folks that don't know. There is a lot of, hey, we're not interested in sharing the ball and passing it around. I'm literally fighting for my life to get an NBA contract. I'm going to shoot it every single time I get the ball. I think the Lakers were plagued a little bit. When I say plagued, I don't mean it in a bad way, but I mean it in a, like, the Lakers summer league was like very much a Cole Swider experience. Like we just featured him a lot. Darius Bazley had a nice stretch. Those are two guys that are quite literally fighting to stay in the NBA and get themselves NBA contracts. And I hope they do. I hope they're successful. I hope Bazley's knee issue, the leg issue ends up resolving itself for the better. But I feel as though, for me, just an observation, that Dalton was probably a victim to some of that kind of stuff, because he's not a guy who's just going to take the ball and just like, all right, for the next 10 plays.
Should he have been that guy? That's where I get hung up on.
I'll answer this. I'll answer this with a question.
Okay. I don't think you said anything incorrect. I'm wondering, like, should that mentality have seeped in, I guess?
If you're Dalton Knecht and you know that the Lakers have already traded you once.
Okay.
They've already traded you once. You don't know if you're functionally going to be on the roster. Even by the time training camp comes around, or even by the time the season starts. If you know that, and look, the NBA is a business. The Lakers have gone and signed Jake LaRavia, who I would argue is probably closer to what they'd like Dalton to grow into, the evolved version of what Dalton ends up becoming. So you know that this team has already traded you. You're a first round pick. You're playing next to, no issues with Bronny, but you're playing next to Cole Swider. I'm playing next to Darius Bazley. These are guys who might not even be on the team, not even be on the roster. And if I am concerned about, like, I have to stay healthy, I can't get hurt, because if I do get traded, or if I want to land somewhere where I have an opportunity to play, I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. I could see a version. I don't agree with it, Raj. That's not an excuse for him missing shots. But I could see a version of this where the human element says he's not really locked into trying to be the guy. Because I watched some of those games, and he wasn't like asking for the ball. He wasn't like, yo, give me the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was just like, that's cool. I'll run my lanes. I'll play some defense. I'll take the open three when it comes to me. But it seemed like he was pretty content watching the other guys do a lot of the work. So that's how it came off to me.
I guess, like, second year players, you're right. He wasn't asking for it. And I think second year players should usually, first round picks especially, command the basketball in that situation, right? It's kind of, they're usually leaned on, like Max Christie a year ago. He's not a crazy ball handler that runs a bunch of pick and rolls, but the ball would find him, because I think Max looked at it and went, I'm the best player here. I should have the basketball. That's with the Bronny, all that stuff going on. So that type of stuff to me is, Josh Hart had a summer league as well, where Josh Hart's not a ball handler, but Josh Hart came in, looked around, same kind of age group as Dalton. I'm the best player here. I know I'm not a ball handler, but I'm gonna get the ball. That's the thing that was disappointing to me. I can live with the missed shots. Like you can have a cold week. You can have a cold 2 weeks. Whatever it was. 2 weeks is a little long for a shooter of his caliber, but
For sure.
I can have some grace for that. It's the 2-point misses, which I thought were awful. I think he was like 5 for 16 on twos. Wasn't getting to the line. I think once you see NBA defense, I have a higher standard for you than a rookie coming in, right?
Fair.
And look, I learned nothing this summer league from Cole Swider. Like I knew Cole can shoot. I
Yeah.
knew he can. I learned absolutely nothing. Now, did I learn that Dalton can't shoot? I don't think so. I don't think from this. I don't think I left here going Dalton can't make an open three or can't get hot. So that's not really the expectation I came in summer league for. And maybe I was wrong to look for this, but I was hoping to see something on the defensive end that showed some improvement. And I thought, there's no nice way to put it. I thought he was awful on the defensive end. I thought he was okay as a defensive rebounder. He came in and get some boards, but got beat backdoor a bunch, wasn't in defensive stance, all the stuff that I thought he'd come in and like, you didn't play me in the playoff. Yeah, you didn't play me in the playoffs for these reasons. Let me show you I've improved on that. And maybe the stuff you're talking about, we can psychoanalyze of he was traded, not really invested in the team, and all things I can understand on a human level, but that doesn't, like you said, take away from the result, which was a very poor summer league performance. So it's not great. I'm with you on the trade value somewhat. I don't think it helped, at least.
For
right?
sure. Yeah. He didn't play up his value for sure. Yeah.
Right. How much lower it got, we'll never, really know. I don't know how high it was. It was probably high in November. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like that's when
for sure.
Dalton had a really peak kind of view. But yeah, I don't know where his value's at now, but I thought that was a pretty poor showing from summer league. And again, second year guy, I'm not looking for, you don't have to go average 30. You don't have to win the summer league MVP, but I need to see and go, all right, you look like you've been through an NBA defense.
Yeah.
And you can get to your spot and score. And he couldn't do that.
Yeah. Did you? So I guess my question is, like, do you think he was mentally engaged into summer league?
The way I look at it is he definitely didn't come in and go, I need to prove something here.
Okay. That's fair. I think that's
how much. Yeah. How much of that is the trade stuff? How much of that is how invested I am? But it definitely didn't feel like a guy that came in and went, yeah, I'm trying to show something here.
Yeah.
Multiple times would just stand in the corner, wait for the play to run, get it late clock, throw up some BS shot and go the other way. And that's how you go cold. That's how you take bad shots. But couldn't get separation. Vinay, I thought, had trouble off the bounce getting any type of separation on respectfully not G League, excuse me, summer league defenders.
He didn't play with force either. Genuinely, it didn't feel like he tried to do like it. Even if you couldn't blow by guys, it didn't even look like you were trying to get to your shot. Like you weren't trying to do anything. Like we've seen Dalton do it against NBA guys. Like we've seen him like, oh, I'm going to dribble to my spot and I'm going to take this pull up mid range shot, or I'm going to do this and take the three, or call for the screen and take the quick three behind it, or even take the long three coming up past half court to see if I'm on a heater. None of that happened. And I don't know. Again, like I can't make excuses for him because he missed even the open ones that he was being given. Like for me, after seeing a guy who's done it pretty consistently at the NBA level to do it here, for me, it just translates to, I don't know if this guy's really like taking this very seriously or not. But it look, again, it is what it is. We can psychoanalyze it, like you said, as much as we want, but basketball still has to be played on the court, and the fans are only going to review you based on what your production is. They're not going to really care about the fact, at least Laker fans are not going to care about the fact that you were once traded before, and it's kind of everybody knows that you're still in all these trade packages as a first round pick potentially. I'm sure he reads it too as well. So it's just one of those things that is what it is.
Yeah, and George has got this is ignoring the coaching staff. I like everything, talking to them, and Lindsey Harding was the head coach of our summer league. If you go listen to her talk, brilliant basketball person. But I never got the sense that they are, I don't know, they would withhold Dalton from any ability to go get the ball at any time he likes. Like there was no hierarchy where Dalton has to go stand in the corner and wait for the basketball to come to him. If he wanted the ball at the top of key, he can go and curl and go grab it off a dribble handoff whenever he wanted. This team was begging for shot creation. Bronny had to do the bulk of it because of his athletic, gifts. But I mean, Dalton 6'7", just isn't a super skinny dude. Has some And we've seen it at the NBA level. That's the part. Like, he's gotten to the rim at the NBA level, has had 20-point fourth quarters at the NBA level. Like, he's a guy that's done it at a high level. So, yeah, disappointing summer league. You're right. It is what it is, but definitely did not help. And I'm sure this isn't what the Lakers wanted going into training camp for him. It does feel like he will be at camp. It does feel like Dalton will be on the team. I'm sure we'll get into that, but yeah, wanted a little better from Dalton this summer, and just that was not, what you wanted to go into the season with a young prospect who's already, or young quote unquote, who's 24 years old already. Kind of want them a little ahead of the curve.
I agree. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Dalton's situation. Just kind of going into training camp, what happens with this situation, even beyond this. And obviously, we hope that he plays better in that capacity. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, before we close out the summer league, I just, you mentioned it a little bit, but Darius Bazley, got hurt the last game. That was my favorite player during summer league.
You were telling us in the chat
I was like, yeah, and then started to get public approval in terms of everyone started to, kind of watch and see what he was doing, and had a huge kind of feature profile on him. Had the first kind of, writers block where, you drop something and immediately something terrible, happens after that. But yeah, I wish him the best. I think that's an NBA player, B'nai, like, just the athletic gifts that he has, the ball handling. Hopefully he, stays around the Lakers farm system and can kind of rehabilitate there and, find his way on the team. But yeah, I just wanted to give him a shout out. Just super humble guy, a guy who's had success in the league, averaged 14 a game in his second season. Those type of dudes, Vinay, don't usually humble themselves and come back to summer league. Like, they usually just kind of wait for the league to kind of, give them another shot in training camp. But we just talked about Dalton coming in with this kind of lackadaisical, motor, attitude. Bazley is the complete opposite. That dude was 100 miles per hour every game. Absolutely wanted this, and huge games. Had a 27-13 game. Had a huge tip dunk and stop on the other end, win in Vegas. So yeah, just want to give him a quick like minute shout out.
Yeah, no, that's I think Bazley, he was famously the player who was, I think, the first player to like not go do anything. Like, I think he took that internship with New Balance for $1 million. And then he did that for like 6 months, ended up getting drafted in the first round. And it's been kind of a little rough for him since then, after he got into the league. And I think he's trying to work his way back into it. But interesting story. Hopefully he gets back sooner than later. And then hopefully he gets back to playing basketball at a high level. But yeah, that kind of wraps up. Was there anything that stood out from summer league for you? Like any players? Like, I remember you and I went to go watch. We watched the Spurs games, and we watched Stephon Castle in person.
Oh yes,
in summer league. I think you and I were sitting next to Stephon Castle's representation at, I think he's with WME. I forgot who it was, but I remember his like scout, some Aussie scout or something like that, or somebody who just knew him. And we were just talking about it, and we're like, yeah, this guy's really good. Like, he shouldn't be in summer league.
Yeah,
his pace and everything is way too good. He shouldn't be playing. And I think you and I were both saying, like, he should be like your starting point guard or your off-ball guard for the Spurs.
He was incredible.
And then a few days later, I forget when it was, like, Chris Paul signed with the Spurs. And we were like, I think you and I were both like, why? Like, why? Like, just let Castle play, dude. And now they're in the situation where they've got Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. This is just backstory for the people who don't know. But Raj and I make observations like that, and then we meet the people who are around those players and talk to them about it, and then we end up finding out that's actually what, whatever we predicted actually happens later. Anybody who stepped out? Anybody who kind of caught your eye?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to watch. So I'm honestly I'm not a college person at all. Don't watch a bit of it. Did not watch a single. I'm not even sure I watched a single game this year. Maybe the championship game a little bit, but Cooper Flag was absolutely worth every bit of the hype that was put around him. Just an incredible, talent, motor, defensive kind of monster. Had a terrible shooting game, but I don't know. It's cool to watch, kids who are, I say kids, he's 18 years old, but like kid essentially, all the hype around him, and they just come in and just play with energy and play free and just have a really impactful game against us. So I thought he kind of met the moment, kind of blanking on any of the other kind of players throughout this. Saw my guy Quincy, who was playing for the Nets.
Olivari, yeah.
Sadly left the Lakers. But yeah, just Summer League is cool. Kind of blanking on the other top picks that I even saw there. It was such a blur the whole weekend, but yeah. I think Houston had a really nice summer league too. Forgetting their the player that they got, but yeah, Cooper Flag I thought was just fascinating to watch in person. Absolutely met the hype.
The guy that I thought was like, oh, this guy shouldn't be playing here, like absolutely shouldn't be playing here.
Yeah,
VJ Edgecombe. That kid is crazy, Raj. Like it is going to be. I think people.
What would you say? Because I didn't get to watch him. He didn't play in Vegas. When I went first weekend, lights were too bright. No, just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. What would you say like his? Because I watch him on TV, and that dude just likes like a power wing that's super skilled.
Bro, yeah. So I originally thought my comp for him, because of his build and what he likes to do with the ball, how he likes to attack. I thought it was like somewhere between Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy's physically tough. He likes that midi. He does crafty stuff. And he's a really great finisher at the rim. And Dwayne was really great at drawing fouls and really slashing to the right. And then I watched him more. And you know who I think VJ reminds me of? And it's probably going to be extreme. He reminds me a lot of rookie Anthony Edwards, without the like not as much in between stuff. But I remember when I watched Anthony Edwards as a rookie for the Wolves, the number one issue I thought Anthony Edwards had is that he was so athletic, he didn't know how he wanted to finish once he got into the paint. And he would like he would drive with his right and then try to finish with his left, and then he'd miss like easy layups. And I was just like, yeah, once this kid figures this out, like he realizes that I'm better than so many of these guys, it's just going to get super easy for him. And like literally the next year, all of a sudden he's finishing really well. And then he's taking that 3-point lead. I'll say this. The only reason I make the comparison to Anthony Edwards is because VJ Edgecombe has this 1-footed leap, Raj, that is nuts. He had a play where he went baseline on somebody and off of 1 foot off of a baseline drive. This is not like I pump fake and I drove and I had full momentum going it. This was like it's not even like a dead rhythm jump. It was just like you wouldn't have expected the explosion. You only expected it if it was off of a gather and jumping off of 2 feet. He dunked it on somebody. He'd like on some big off of a baseline single-footed dunk, and I was just like, this dude is going to be a problem. He's going to be too much of a problem as soon as he figures out how his athleticism matches up with other guys. That's the guy that I would be watching. Philly's going to be in an interesting situation with him, I think.
Yeah, he looked incredible. At least I didn't get to watch him, but he looked great on the Utah Summer League. At least I saw him play, a little bit there on TV.
Raj,
crazy mid-range.
Utah Summer League, he had a Euro step from the free throw line on a transition fast break that he finished with a dunk. I said, do you people understand what this kid just did? Like, it just, he's a crazy athlete for sure.
It's funny because a lot of people, they disregard Summer League. I don't put a bunch of stock into it, but there's a few players very few that their first Summer League game, they look just completely comfortable. The player that I always mentioned, Ben Simmons, to me was the most comfortable Summer League player I've ever seen in my life. Came in day one, was like, I'm a superstar now. And so VJ Edgecombe had that same type of, I'm going to use your word, aura, in terms of that first game. Definitely kind of felt that way.
Kids use nowadays, Roger.
Oh, that is not in my vocabulary at all. But the other guy that I would say is very interesting, the guy that I guess Utah passed on Edgecombe for. I thought Ace Bailey, another guy, didn't get to catch in Vegas. I'm not sure if he played there, but on TV, Ace Bailey looks like, I know he didn't shoot great or whatever, but that dude looks very interesting too, like a 6'9" smooth score. But that's another guy. Ace Bailey did you get to see Ace Bailey playing?
I watched him in Utah. I didn't get a chance to see him in Vegas.
That's
I don't remember if he played, but it's He's a very interesting person. Utah's situation is a little interesting. I mean, we're not going to deep dive into Utah, but his style of play is not going to be like, I'm going to go stand in a corner. We're going to do a bunch of relocation stuff for me. I'm going to come off of DHOs. It's like you probably need to put the ball in his hands. And I feel like Utah is still trying to figure out who their lead whatever is going to be. Like Laurie Markkinen, and they have Filipowski there, and it's a just interesting situation. Him, and so I mean that's really. I thought VJ stood out. I thought Carter Bryant, the kid that the Spurs took, is going to be dynamite for them defensively. And if he grows into his body and his ability and stuff like that, so fascinating stuff, fascinating players and stuff to watch. Raj, let's get on to some Laker stuff, more Laker stuff.
Yes.
We talked about Bron and his aura. We've talked about Bronny. We've talked about Dalton. We talked about other summer league standouts. The big news today: Jordan Goodwin gets waived. Shout out to your guy Jordan Goodwin, somebody that you really liked a lot. Jordan Goodwin gets waived. Shake Milton gets waived. Everybody had been expecting this deadline around Shake Milton to come up because that's when his guaranteed date was. And both get waived. And the big announcement that the Lakers make is that Marcus Smart has agreed to a buyout with the Washington Wizards. And after he clears the waivers, he is planning on joining the Los Angeles Lakers. There is a little bit of, where are we getting the money for this? We have to create a little bit more space for him to sign at the biannual exception. But let's just put that to the side for now. The Lakers are going to add Marcus Smart, barring anything crazy happening and him changing his mind or something. Lakers are going to sign Marcus Smart and add him to the roster. What are your first thoughts? How do you feel about adding him from his Wizards and Boston tenure?
Yeah, so there's some going around Twitter today that I was okay with moving a first round pick for Wiggins, and which I stand on that, and in that clip
you were trading a first round pick for who? For him?
For Wiggins.
Oh, for Wiggins, yeah. No, that's okay.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to be willing to have conviction in something.
I stand on that. But in the clip, I mentioned that I would live with Marcus Smart as well. And that part doesn't get mentioned as much. But no, I'm excited. I think that's for free, getting Marcus Smart, still only I think 31 years old. A guy who's been a defensive player of the year in 2022, point of attack guard. I think he feels exactly what this team needed. Again, we're betting a lot. We're betting a lot of the house on players that have not been themselves in recent years. But I think if you're gonna bet it all on red, might as well push the chips in. And it's what it feels like we've done. But I think I mentioned this on Twitter, and I think you collaborated on that. Is that I think we needed a culture setter on that end.
Yes,
Renee. We needed someone that can look LeBron and Luka, in the eyes. Don't get mad at me, LeBron people, but need to look both of them in the eyes when they're not doing the right thing defensively, when they're not rowing in the same direction as the team.
Yeah.
They need someone with enough cachet to look at them and go, hey, that's your rotation right there.
Yeah.
Now, they may not respond well to that, but we at least need someone who can say it with enough conviction. Marcus Smart was, I think this is important, recruited heavily by Luka Doncic.
Very important part of that entire story.
Which is very interesting with the wording around all this that's going on. But it does look like Luka was heavily involved in the recruitment of Marcus Smart. And again, so that means that I think Marcus walks in with a level of cachet and a level of respect and a level of just, a guy that's done it on that end at, the highest levels. So I think this is awesome. I think he will start, Renee. I don't know if that's controversial, but I think
we should discuss that.
Okay. But
because I have some
before that,
what
are your thoughts on Marcus Smart?
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. I think getting a guy, again, our hope is that we won't get the peak version of Marcus Smart. That's probably gone now, but we get something that's an above average defender. Just what is the expectations that we have for a guy like that? Hopefully a guy who's a great communicator defensively. One, like you said, that'll keep the rest of the guys accountable, but also somebody who can doesn't need to be coached defensively in a scramble, in situations where you have to go and make the rotation because Luka forgot his guy, or make this rotation because Braun went to go do the low man stuff, or Austin lost containment on whatever his defender is, and he's Marcus Smart is getting the charge. You need a guy who's willing to do those kind of sort of dirty work little things in order for them to be successful. In order for those lineups to be successful, we had the starting center as the number one thing that we needed. And the number two thing that we wanted was more defense on this team. More defense, more athleticism. I don't know where Marcus Smart is athletically right now, but his defensive instincts, I think, are really still really, really great. You never really lose that sort of thing. We've seen this famously with like even Avery Bradley, the year that we won the championship. Avery was like 32 years old, I want to say, 32 years old. But those defensive skills were still there. His timing, rhythm, just giving issues. The folks in the chat are mentioning Marcus Smart has had some injury history. I don't think the Lakers would have signed him in this unless they thought that he was capable. Obviously, we don't want him to get hurt, but if they thought that he could make it through like at least 60 games out of the season. So I like him for all those sort of things. Again, when you have LeBron, Luka, Austin, and Ayton on the floor, I'm not looking for a guy who can knock down threes out of 40% rate. Like I just can he just not be left wide open? For sure. Can he move the ball? Can he do that sort of stuff? That stuff matters to me. So I think it's a good low risk, medium reward, maybe high reward if we get like the really, really good version of him. Addition for the Lakers.
Yeah. And again, I remember when I think it was when Ime was hired in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
People forget, I think they started 500 or something like that, and then they did. I'm not advocating the Lakers to do this, but they made Marcus Smart their point guard basically because they were kind of they were going through guards. I think they tried Kemba Walker for a little bit, right? They just went through these guards, and finally they went, you know what? We're gonna give the ball to Marcus Smart, and he's gonna kind of decide. And that took off. Obviously, then they went and got Drew Holiday, which is just a better, more I guess disciplined offensive player than Marcus Smart is. But a guy I think that just understands, how to play off of stars, how to play off of those type of ball handlers. And again, I think just a really smart defender and a person that can guard up and down, which I think is important. Need to be versatile, guard different type of players, especially with the starting lineup you just mentioned, where I think all four have defensive questions and question marks. Marcus Smart comes in with his own. There's going to be a bunch of times where Laker fans pull out their hair because of the offensive possession Marcus Smart had, where he has a little bit of a it's Marcus Smart time type of stuff on offense, especially when he believes the offense isn't running appropriately as it should. There's going to be times where he kind of takes into his own takes things into his own hands. But overall, if this is a healthy player, and this is a player that's been through a lot of playoff grinds, and I think these last 2 years have kind of been a real break from that in terms of obviously injuries have contributed, but I also think probably it's nice for him to get a little bit of a longer summer. Obviously, he was on the Wizards, so that's just what happens when you play on that team. But I think this is again for free. Like if the offseason in totality, when you combine it with Ayton and Laravia, I think those are pretty solid. And then Marcus Smart, I guess, rounds that out. Again, I think they need one more move, which probably doesn't happen until February or whenever it is. But solid signing, like for free. This is a guy that some people said to trade for at his salary. I think getting him on a buyout and not having to give up any player or asset is a win.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think people are maybe overthinking it a little bit because I think the way that they keep analyze everything is, does this move make us in contention? Does this move make it in contention? And I think it's probably not the right way to look at something unless you're trading for a superstar. Basically, does that superstar get you closer? These are role players. You're hoping that, again, like I always say this thing, that in the playoffs, I know our coaches 10 guys, I always say this to them all the time, but like in the playoffs, none of your stats matter. In the playoffs, it's literally, are you helping them win the game or are you not? Like you could shoot like absolute garbage the entire game, but if you're rebounding every offensive miss and creating other opportunities for your teammates, and the end result is you end up winning the game, then that's it. Like that in the playoffs, you just got to win the game. Like it doesn't matter what your stats look like, you just got to win it. And so Marcus Smart is one of those guys, Raj. Like he is also, like you said, one of those guys who I like to call he's one of the Patrick Beverly All-Stars, like where he sometimes allows himself to become the main character of the game. And so the Lakers have to be very careful to walk that line carefully with him and not allow him to be one of those guys. And he's capable of doing that, but I think he's also capable of really helping a team win games in all those hustle and blue collar categories.
Yeah, and again, just I'm pretty sure as reported he has a player option for his second season. I'd be shocked if that wasn't the case. But just being cynical, these guys have a lot to prove. It's a little tougher to make yourself the story when you are coming off a buyout, making $6 million a year on the lower half of salaries on the roster. So there's probably a little bit more optimism that, he falls in line as too strong, but at least doesn't color too far outside of the lines in terms of what his role is. I just want to use this time because I've been killed about my Jordan Goodwin take, and this keeps happening, and I'm going to mention this is going to happen again, where Jordan Goodwin is going to go to some team and play well, and everyone's going to go, oh my God, what happened? We lost Jordan Goodwin. And I'm going to be like, I was banging this drum. To your point, like you just mentioned it, how much you shot or whatever, it doesn't really matter if you're helpful in a playoff setting. And I think the part that people, get too fixated on, Vinay, like a 30% 3-point shooter and a 33% 3-point shooter in a 7-game sample is not too far off, especially on a Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves teams. Those dudes are never getting guarded. I don't care what percentage they run. And that's where I think, again, I'm not saying Goodwin would have been a crazy playoff performing helper. I honestly think his value is in the regular season, where he allows a guy like Marcus Smart to take off a game or two to, load manage his way through a season. A very cheap contract. I don't remember the exact details of it, but it was definitely, right at a minimum salary or whatever it was for Jordan Goodwin. Pennies on the dollar for, a guy that I think was helpful in a regular season capacity at the least. Another guy we're going to lose due to, cap, structuring. And, I don't even disagree with the decision that, Goodwin isn't worth losing Marcus Smart for, but I think these aren't one-on-one. These aren't one-for-one decisions. I think there was pathways to having both on the team. And I just think it's unfortunate that Jordan Goodwin, a guy that's really, rose in the Lakers organization.
We played him. We trusted him in the playoffs, so that should tell you what. I mean, JJ trusted him in the playoffs, so that should tell you what he thought of Jordan Goodwin.
Plus 9 in Game 3 in a 12-minute stretch. We won't get into how that game was lost, but in any case, was helpful in a playoff, setting. And so, disappointing. Tony Jones from The Athletic reported that a lot of teams will be interested in Jordan Goodwin. He is also no longer eligible for a 2-way, which means the Lakers can't just go back to him and go, hey, we got this other deal for you, because it's just not available anymore. So it's a long spiel, but Jordan Goodwin, best of luck, my guy. And sucks that it was not able to work out here.
Yeah, there was it was I'll tell you the story offline about I saw him in Vegas this reason.
Okay.
I'll tell you the story afterwards. But adding Marcus Smart creates another issue for the Lakers. And this is something that I wanted to talk about. You and I have said that repeatedly, that the core issue with this Lakers team, or at least with that starting unit, is that there's just not enough defense in that group. It's not some of it is an effort thing, right? Like Luka's effort defensively is not quite there. Bron's 40 years old. It's not reasonable to expect him to do 35 minutes of full defensive effort. Austin has Austin usually plays with effort. He just has some athletic limitations when it comes to it. So Rui has been the guy that we've been really relying on to help shore up some of the defensive and rebounding gaps for the team. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they do that. But this Marcus Smart signing makes things a little tricky, because he certainly is somebody that you could play in the backcourt with Austin Reeves and next to Luka too as well. So Marcus Smart was your 2 and 3. Let's just say the backcourt is just Austin and Marcus Smart. That's probably a better balance, more balanced out backcourt than Luka and Austin. And honestly, it forces Luka to have to go guard wings, which is what he's more physically equipped to do. He's not chasing guys around screens and all that sort of stuff, and slides Braun down a little bit more. But we run into this situation, Raj, where we have to figure out, is Marcus Smart good enough to supplant Rui from who is the guy that we would expect him to get supplanted? I've seen some people say that Austin needs to take this Ginobili role, 6-man role. I'm going to be very honest. Like, that's not happening. Like, if
No.
Austin gets, I'll even take it one step further. If the Lakers go to Austin Reeves to get moved to the 6-man, they're going to have to end up trading him. Like, it's almost a guarantee that they're going to have to trade him if they think that they can bench him. I think Austin, and I would actually agree with Austin that I think he's earned the equity and with what he's done when Anthony Davis was out and LeBron were out, some of the stuff. But granted, he's had some low moments in playoff series, but like, again, like something you like to always say, he's an organizational win. This is a guy that's really stepped up to the plate a lot of times for the Lakers in regular season and in the playoffs. I don't think they're planning on benching him. So really the only person you're not benching Ayton. The only other person you can bench is Rui. Is Marcus Smart enough of a player? Does he have enough equity coming into this situation? And this is why I think this is interesting, Raj. Luka stamping his name on the Marcus Smart acquisition matters because your superstar is saying, I want this guy on my team. I wanted this guy, so I'm trying to get him. So the reason why this is our conspiracy, this is a kind of conspiracy, not full conspiracy, but I think it is important for Luka to go out and say, I want Marcus Smart on this team. Because at some point, you have to, if you do have to make the case that, hey, Marcus would be better in the starting unit instead of Rui, because Rui would help the bench scoring greatly. He's a great, like you and I have always said, he's a natural sub offensively for LeBron because of how he likes to play offensively. You need that stamp. But money-wise, you can't say he is because Marcus Smart's only making $5 million and Rui's making $18 million. That's a thing too as well. And you have to make the argument that whatever Marcus is doing on the basketball court in his ability is equally or more important than what Rui is doing on the court when he's on the floor with that group. Yeah. Do you think the Lakers can make the case as it is to make that change? Now, I'm not saying Rui's going to refuse or there's going to be a bunch of issues. I don't want to imply that. But that is a thing. We can't discount 100%. The human element of basketball. What do you think?
I mean, I think part of the reason we played so much small ball is there's a positional gap. And so it's much easier to make fours fives than make fours threes, right? Mm-hmm. And so instead of moving LeBron or Rui up a position, we moved them down positions. Rui played center. LeBron James played center for this team. Yeah. I'm gonna be pretty blunt about this. I don't think Rui has very much. He's not in the Austin tier in terms of even just organizationally. I don't think they look at it and have very many headaches about deciding where if he starts or not. Yes. And I've heard there's some I guess business advantages for Rui Hachimura to be in different positions, but in any case, that's why I think Smart is coming with the maybe not assurance of a starting position, but I would think he's coming in to start. That just makes a lot of sense. I think that balances the roster because if he doesn't and Marcus Smart is starting, I don't know. I just don't see enough perimeter defense on the team to warrant. And so Marcus Smart coming in, you just mentioned the Luka Doncic stamp of approval. Marcus technically is making $6 million, but his buyout was, whatever it was on the $20+ million scale. Yeah. So technically he's still making X amount for this season. It's just not counting against the Lakers cap. It's counting against the Wizards, in terms of what they gave up. So I do think Marcus Smart comes in with the amount of cachet to where JJ can start him day one and not have to worry. And I think it's what you've been saying for a long time. Rui is the exact sub for LeBron that you need, that you would like. That you want. I think also, that also getting a bench scorer like Rui, giving him a little bit more, touches offensively in a way to get him an offensive rhythm, I think helps. So, I think Smart starts, and I'm with you. I don't think Austin's going to the bench. This idea that they're going to start Marcus Smart over Austin Reeves is not
Yeah.
That's not happening. Austin
Do you
is starting if he's on the
do
team.
you, do you think they promised him a starting spot?
I think they promised
We've
him.
been known to do stuff like that.
We have. I think they promised him the chance to start a fair shake at a
Sure.
starting job. I think that's what was probably promised. And again, it doesn't hurt that the best or one of the best players on the team is advocating for you, very strongly. But
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I think he starts.
Yeah, I think from a basketball fit perspective, if the version of Marcus Smart, even if it's an average or slightly above average version of what he is significantly better for what that starting unit needs, honestly, compared to what anybody else compared to what Rui provides. And this is not to say that what Rui provides isn't valuable. It's just from a fit standpoint, like the Lakers have the offensive star power that they need, or not star power, the offensive firepower that they need in that unit, especially now with Ayton also being there too as well. That now Rui's need is not there as much anymore, and so a better defensive fit is certainly what is. That's why we originally had the idea for the Andrew Wiggins trade back in early June, when we had proposed that idea. But there's also another positional logjam that happens now, Raj. Let's just say for whatever reason, or actually we don't have to say anything. Like there's another positional logjam that happens. Let's say Marcus Smart does get inserted into the starting unit. You now have Gabe Vincent, Dalton Knecht, Jake LaRavia, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura. I don't think Adu Thiero is going to be playing too much just yet because of his injury issue. So I don't want to put him in that category. And I think, like you said, Bronny is probably, they're being really careful. They're not going to throw him into the fire like they did before. But you have a lot of guys. LaRavia, Dalton, Gabe. I didn't even mention Maxi because I don't know where he'll be at. He might be another guy that has some expectation to play. Rui, Vando. It's great to have all those pieces, but it doesn't work if you actually need to play those guys too and figure out those minutes. It's not necessarily easy to do it. Adding a guy like Marcus Smart and then moving Rui to the bench creates a level of positional logjam. There might not be enough minutes to go around, and I don't think Dalton is interested in just sitting on the bench the rest of the time. They didn't sign LaRavia to sit on the bench the entire time.
Nope.
Gabe, 11 million. Vando, 11 million. Rui, 17 million. Maxi, 11 million. They're getting paid money like they're supposed to be part of a core rotation. How do we consolidate that, Raj? How do we do we just go out with the old and stick with the new, the young guys, or do we? Or let me ask this question in a different way. That doesn't make you have to pick specific guys. What do we need to consolidate out of that lineup? What does that bench group need more of, or a stronger sense of, in order for you to feel really good about the rotation going into the regular season, maybe the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pretty consistent. I still think we need one more just straight wing. Like I think
Mm-hmm.
Marcus Smart, can fill that position, but he's also a 2, probably more than a 3. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know he would be starting in a backcourt position, but in terms of just defensive, roles, I would like at least one more athletic wing guy. People are telling me the Wiggins ship has probably sailed, and that's where I'd kind of like to consolidate. But it feels to me like they're just going to live with these expirings and
Mm-hmm.
let them expire or re-examine the market in February, kind of where the team's at, and see if they want to give up anything of value to kind of move those guys. But again, I still think like we are putting all our chips in very risky situations already. But
Mm-hmm.
Maxi was obviously a guy that our head coach has very extreme trust in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the Lakers beat Minnesota in some different universe, I wonder what Maxi's role would have been going forward. It's very clear he was being prepped to play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure that's not the situation they wanted to play him in, but it's very clear that Maxi Kleber was not rehabbing just for fun. I'm sure
Yeah.
it seemed just from the result that he was rehabbing to really be clearly back in the rotation. Yeah, one of the top 8 or 9 guys. So I'd be interested in what he looks like. Like Jared Vanderbilt, I think this is his first healthy summer, if I have that correct.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure the Lakers are looking at it like we could trade Vanderbilt on his lowest value, or we could try to see if he's an NBA player next season in some capacity. I think they need a lot of guys to hit and have some years who've had really down seasons in the last few years, but I'm guessing that's the bet. Gabe Vincent still as your backup point guard. It's not, ideal, but I think that's a regular season player at least. And so yeah, but that I just wanted a wing that made a lot of sense, which is why I would technically overpay, but I don't know how much it's actually overpaying. You dive into what the actual things you're giving up, but yeah, I think we're like a top 3 or 4 seed with the roster we are now, which is fine. I think you can do that and evaluate at the deadline if you want, but that's where I'm at, Vinay. Just I think we need one more 3. There's some cheaper options there. Josh Green is a name that has popped up a little bit on Charlotte. Type of guys you can go after. They don't really change your life, but guys that would help in that regard. But where are you at with the back half of the roster?
I'm glad that you asked me that question, Raj, because I have an idea that I want to propose to you that I would be very curious to know what your thoughts are about. I'm with you. I think the consolidation for the team has to happen from a defensive standpoint. I think you have Braun, Ayton, Austin, Luca, Rui. That's a lot of offense, a ton of offense. And you have Laravia. We haven't even mentioned. Like there has to be some consolidation somewhere as it relates to the defensive part. And I think Marcus Smart is a good step in that direction. You're getting a guy who's not only a floor leader on that side, but also a culture setter, similar to what you kind of said. He is a guy who sets the culture in the locker room and whatnot. Now, if you remember correctly, Raj, in the 2020 championship team, we actually had 2 guys. We had multiple guys. We had Danny Green, we had Avery Bradley, Dwight Howard, but we had another guy that was a culture setter for the team defensively. That was Rajon Rondo. He was a guy that historically has been known as a really great defensive player. Obviously, he wasn't a great scoring guy, but he did a lot of the other stuff. Control the game, be a pest on defense, the same way all these other guys were. And it was really interesting to see. And again, that was his calling card. Like if at the very worst, he's going to create for his teammates, create advantages, super high IQ, and really lock in defensively in whoever his matchup is supposed to be. So I have a trade for you. And I want to propose this trade for you, make a case for both sides, why both sides would do this. And then make a case for why there might be some holdup as to why this trade doesn't happen. Right now, the Phoenix Suns have way too many guys that play on the perimeter. They have Devin Booker, they have Jalen Green, Bradley Beal's gone, which they've bought out. They have Royce O'Neal, who's a perimeter-oriented guy. They have Grayson Allen, who's another perimeter-oriented guy. And then obviously they've got those centers that they drafted. They traded for Mark Williams, and then they got Kaman Maluak. Then they have some young guys, and Ryan Dunn. He's a bigger player, more of a wing guy. And then they drafted another guy, I think in the second round, Rasheer Fleming, who's also sort of a wing size player, wing center size player. So the point being, there's a lot of guys they have that are perimeter oriented, and they don't really have a traditional game manager. They don't really have a traditional backup point guard. They don't really have structure outside. They just have a bunch of bodies that they're hoping that they can put together. And obviously, Devin Booker, congratulations to him. He got that mega contract extension, which is kind of crazy. There's a guy that's on their roster, which Laker fans are very acutely attuned to, by the name of Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is making about 21 mil this year, and he makes 19 mil next year, and then he's just a free agent after that. Now, Dylan Brooks, for whatever people think of him as a person, annoying, a pest, a tryhard. If you're a Bron fan, he's the bane of your existence because he's always trying to challenge Bron on the court, that sort of thing. But he is a really good defensive basketball player. He does do the stuff that annoys great offensive wings. He is tough. He is physical. He is one of the Pat Beverly All-Stars that I mentioned before, where he can get a little bit of main character syndrome. That can be an issue. But for the most part, he's a really good defensive player. I think he was a big part of why the Grizzlies were a really good defensive team. I think he's also a big part of why the Rockets.
They're going to miss him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were a defense. I think he is absolutely one of those guys who can set the tone and set the intention
Culture.
defensively, culture for the team, communicates, all that sort of stuff. So he's only about $21 million. So there's one variation of this trade, Raj, that involves the Suns, who are a team that are actually below the cap. They're not in a luxury tax. They're about $4 million below after the Bradley Beal buyout. So they actually have some room to like add salary without going into the tax, which is something I imagine they want to do. The Lakers could go and offer them expiring time. So because he has an extra 19 mil, maybe the Suns don't want that. They're like, no, we want to clear our books. We want to create minutes for Ryan Dunn and these other guys to play. The Lakers could go and offer Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber for Dylan Brooks, just straight up, just 2 for 1. That's it. The Lakers would save about $1.5 million. Basically, the incentive for Phoenix is, hey, if you want to get out of this extra $20 million, we'll take on that money for you, and we'll take this guy off. We'll give you 2 expiring salaries. Gabe isn't a bad player. If you guys need a backup point guard that you need to use that's like more defensively oriented, you can. Maxi, you're probably not going to keep him. You could probably buy him out, maybe even, and save even more money this year if you need to. Let's just say the Phoenix Suns, because Matt Ishbia is a very crazy guy who doesn't make sense to me. Let's say the Lakers offer that to the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns say, yeah, you know what? I think we might do that. What do you think about that trade and how that helps the Lakers?
Marcus Smart and Dylan Brooks feel like the immovable object like matches with the unstoppable force.
But they're on the same side.
Right. Yeah. It's just a tornado that's coming from within the house. It's like, where's this tornado coming from? It's from your own living room kind of thing. Both just absolutely insane offensive challenges that they have when they're on the floor. But again, I probably would do that. I question some if Phoenix would, but I guess in this hypothetical, they're agreeing to this. I like that a lot. I think Dylan Brooks is another culture setter. He has an everyday thing about him.
Yes.
There is no game off. It could be the middle of February, and he is just on a road game in Charlotte.
Dylan Brooks strikes me as the kind of guy who will he'll like heckle his barista if he messes up his coffee. That's the type of person he strikes me as.
He just wakes up on the wrong side of the bed every day.
Upset.
Just mad.
He's the guy who he sees the suggestion box and just has to write something in it and then leave it there. Like even if it's not even, you don't need to, but he just still does it. I think that's what he does.
But I like that you highlighted, like, he's a legit defensive talent. Like that. Yes. That is a guy that not only can defend but takes pride in the defensive end. A little psycho. I truly believe to be a good defender in the league, there's a little bit of psychoness you need.
All great defensive guys have to. Like the only guys that you find that are not crazy are like the Drew Holidays, like real blue collar. You don't get any issues with him. Plays with him himself. But then you got to pay those guys like $35 million.
Right.
We're not paying for that. So you gotta be willing to take on some of the crazy. We did it with Meta World Peace, even though we had won a championship with Trevor Ariza. I wouldn't put it past the Lakers to try and do that again.
Point. That's a good point. We like to go get the what is the saying? Like the enemy of my enemy is a friend or whatever it is. Like
and it's just what did it be, buddy? Just from a cosmic standpoint, all the
right.
The kerfuffles that Bron has had with him, that he ends up on a Bron team, and now like he just becomes like this enforcer to protect Bron and Luka and all these other guys. I could 100% see something like that.
Yeah, he would thrive in that role. To me, 100%. He would absolutely live for it. He would make sure anyone that breathes on Luka Doncic would be on the floor. That type of stuff would, I think, really adhere itself to Laker fans. Had a really good shooting year, as Sam mentions. In the chat, I think he shot over 40% on his threes. Again, in the playoffs, his offensive decision making is questionable. But I think
I feel like that's because Houston didn't really have like a true go-to guy offensively, and I wonder if it would be much easier for him next to a guy like Luka and Bron and Austin.
Again, next to Ja, he was also still a little bit of a loose cannon offensively, but you could argue that also Ja was really the only one, and so he had to kind of create some shots along with Desmond Bane as well. But yeah, I think it would be super helpful how much the Lakers want to take on that salary with their project their 2026 kind of plan in terms of keeping space for the stars of the on other teams. But Dylan Brooks fits. I think he's right in that Wiggins territory, maybe even better because he makes a lot less and probably would
Yes.
cost a lot less to go get. But yeah, another culture guy as well. I think he would probably impact the culture even more than a Marcus Smart could. I just think Dylan probably has the motor and the energy and the fire to do it on a daily basis. And he would probably piss off the stars a lot more in the way he does it.
Yeah.
But so there is a chance that it's a who's the player that was on the Mavs, that Grant Williams, that I think just wore out his welcome so quickly in Dallas. Was signed to Dallas, and I think tried to run the room a lot faster than he probably could. But I think Brooks is, super talented, at least defensive guy. I think who would again fit the position I'm looking for. Guy you can throw on other stars, and like you said, is a
might be a bench
psycho.
role. And Marcus Smart gets hurt,
Sure.
he gets inserted to the starting lineup again. A guy who can help in that capacity. Now you've reduced some of the issues. Now that Gabe is gone, you have Brooks, a guy who doesn't really need to be an on-ball guy as much. Laravia becomes a guy who can be a little bit more on ball, or whoever. Like if Smart is like the backup point guard too as well to some degree. Now you're freeing up the touches. I like the idea of Brooks mainly because he is a low touch, high impact guy, and those guys are always super helpful, especially when they're defensively aligned, defensively shifted. Okay, so we're in agreement about the basketball fit for Dylan Brooks. Obviously, the basketball personality fit is something that you have to kind of keep a side eye on, but definitely, certainly from a basketball standpoint, he's a really nice fit. So I have another variation of this for you. Same logic. The Suns are trying to shed future salary, but they're also not trying to bottom out completely. And they've got a bunch of young guys. They need to have vets around them. So the second variation of this trade involves Dylan Brooks and Nick Richards, a guy the Lakers have tried to get before the Suns swooped up and took him from us. Dylan Brooks and Nick Richards for Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent. A 2-for-2 swap. Same logic is exactly the same. What ends up happening is that the Lakers end up reducing their salary by overall payroll by about $3.6 million. And the Suns have the room to add those guys on there too as well, without going into the luxury tax. And that creates more than enough money for us to be able to sign Marcus Smart in the biannual exception. What do you think about that trade? Dylan Brooks and Nick Richards for Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent.
Yeah, I probably still do that. Also, I'm a little bit more questionable. Yeah, I mean, I think Brooks is a better fit than Rui, and it's definitely a better defensive fit than Rui would be. You'd get another center. Nick Richards, I think, is better than Jackson Hayes, which would kind of move him ahead of him in that rotation. And so I guess you don't really open any other roster spots. You just open up some money. But I'm pretty sure isn't Smart's biennial is already open by waiving Shake and Jordan Goodwin, isn't it?
I don't think it's completely open. I think there's just a little bit of unless the report comes out that he's taking like a little bit less than the biannual exception.
So he's taking 5.1, which I think is a little bit less. So I think Smart is cleared by waiving Goodwin and Shake. But I like this basketball wise. I think this makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure what Gabe's use is here, going forward on the bench. But for some reason I like Brooks more in like what he brings culture wise than even like I do think he's a very skilled defender, but I just love having a guy that you can throw. Trap God mentions he's a real athlete, 25 years old, and brings some youth. And we don't really think of athleticism in this way, Vinay, but he's a powerful player, like
strong guy, physical.
Yeah. So he's a guy that really you feel him every single possession will wear on. Not how effective it is sometimes, but will kind of wear with Kawhi. Will Chase Brent. He's a guy that one of the things that we were annoyed about all year was how easily we give up switches. Dylan Brooks does not do that. Dylan Brooks stays attached to his guy. Hell or high water. He stays attached to his defender, so his offensive player. So
and he doesn't have to be coached into doing it. Like it's part of his personality that I'm not letting my guy like get to pick whatever matchup he wants. I think as a quality similarly shared to by Marcus Smart and Jared Vanderbilt, both like so to have like even if we get like a normal like some average to above average version of realized version of Vando, that's a heck of a trio of guys to have on your roster for those purposes.
I was gonna say I love Smart and Brooks would be great for a guy like DeAndre Ayton. I think Ayton needs an everyday push. Just again, I haven't met DeAndre Ayton and never been around him. But just the stuff I hear, in terms of, how he's played the last few years, I think Ayton needs an everyday in your face guy. Now that I'm sure that gets annoying at one point, but I would love Brooks and Smart in that capacity to kind of get Ayton to where he needs to be for the team. Because I don't think LeBron and Luka are doing that. I just don't think they take that, as serious as Smart and Brooks would. So I like both of those. I don't know what if there's no picks involved, great. I would throw second rounders in either of those to get those done, but I like those.
Yeah, so I think both the Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber for Dillon Brooks and the Rui Gabe Vincent for Dillon Brooks and Nick Richards. I think those are two possible avenues the Lakers can explore. The Birdies have said Dillon Brooks might be available. But I think the holdup might be just enough compensation. Like, does Phoenix want Dalton Knecht? Do they turn around and say, we'll do it if you just throw Dalton into the deal? In either versions of that, you probably don't want to do that for Dillon Brooks in the first deal where it's Gabe and Maxi, because that's probably an overpay for a guy like Dillon Brooks. But if you're getting Richards and Dillon Brooks, like, how are you really fitting? Like, where are Dalton's minutes coming from? Or do you just hold Dalton for somebody, if you ever have to move Vando or somebody, you have to attach him to Vando to move him or something like that. But I'd be curious to see if the Lakers explored those two opportunities. I think it would be a great basketball fit. I think it would give a lot more structure and identity to a team that's kind of still figuring out. It opens up opportunities for Laravia, opens up opportunities offensively for Dalton. And, it just makes more sense to me. And if Vando's playing, that's another. Now you got two defensive guys coming off of your bench. You can let the offensive guys do what they want to do, and not have to worry about that drop off.
Pulling the curtain a little bit back, why do you think Phoenix goes in this direction? You just mentioned they paid Devin Booker $250 million for the next 2 years for the next 2 years of an extension. They don't own their picks, I don't believe, for a while. Obviously, all those went out in different deals. They got some back they got one. They got their own payback this year from Houston, which is basically what they were able to recoup. But why does, I guess, Phoenix go in this direction? You think I think let talent go out the door?
Yeah, so I think it's just one of those things where fit becomes a thing. Like how are you creating the minutes for a guy like Dillon Brooks, right? Because if you're playing Booker and you're playing Jalen Green, you got to play them both. Like, I would be shocked if they brought Jalen Green off the bench. That doesn't
forgot they got Jalen Green. You're right.
But you have Jalen Green and you have Booker. You're not playing them at the 1 and 2 because neither of those guys are point guard. Booker has the ability to play point guard, but he's not a point guard. He's not making point guard reads unless it's very specific play that's set for that action, for that kind of basketball. Like, if you're going to play both of those guys, where do you fit in Dillon Brooks? And then on top of that, where do you fit in Ryan Dunn, a guy who showed a lot of promise when you were playing with him last year? You've got your center now in Malawak, but if neither Book, so in my mind, if neither Book nor Jalen Green are point guards, but you're going to play both of them, if you are, who's running your offense? Who's getting them the ball in the positions for them to go and score on the other guys? Because you don't want them to be ball pressured 94 feet. Dillon Brooks isn't helping you with that. And so I think you run into sort of that situation where they might be looking at this as, we like them, but at the same time, we need to beef up the same way that we're doing that exercise. We need to beef up other areas of our roster. We need to add a defensive guy, or we need to add a point guard that can help facilitate for the rest of the team and that sort of thing. So I think that's why Phoenix would do it. Also, they get out of Dillon Brooks extra money. I don't think Brooks was a guy that Phoenix really wanted in that KD trade. I think he's just a guy they had to take in the KD trade because Houston kind of had him over a barrel. Shout out to Kevin Durant for helping make that possible for Houston. But I think it's just one of those things. And I think if they can get something that actually helps them out, maybe fill out the team Again, Matt Ishbia is crazy, so I don't know. He could play 4 shooting guards for all I know. Like I don't know what he's thinking, but I think that would probably make more sense for a team like them. They already have like Grayson Allen on the team too. So are you playing Brooks over Grayson Allen and then putting Grayson Allen on the bench? What is Royce O'Neal doing? Like you have too many guys that just kind of play the same position. So
Yeah, I could see that. I guess Timmy Brooks would be helpful to some contender down the lane, and maybe you can wait and get something for him. But yeah, maybe they want to get out of the money. But
yeah,
Brooks would be super helpful if you can get him. Nick Richards, if you can come along with him, would be great. A guy the Lakers obviously looked at in some way and capacity. So
you know what
there's
the craziest thing is, Raj?
Hmm.
I think the Phoenix Suns might trade Devin Booker
right after this extension.
He's not. You can't trade him until January. Wouldn't shock
I
me
see.
if at some point Matt Ishbia put him up for grabs.
Yeah,
If somebody's
yeah.
offering you 3 first-round picks for Devin Booker, would you say no?
I mean, at that price, I just can't see a team. He's at what, 70 million, I think.
Yeah, but that's
Now,
like 4 years away. You're not there yet. You're getting a top 4 shooting guard in the NBA now. What's a team that's desperately starved for scoring? We know that the Houston Rockets really wanted Devin Booker for a long time, but they ended up getting Kevin Durant. What's
I
the
know,
team
I
that
know,
wants him?
I know they just traded for Bane, but I would love Devin Booker in Orlando would be very interesting.
Yeah.
I think he's better than Bane by a few levels.
What
Had a
about
down year.
What about Devin Booker on the Knicks?
Ooh, you'd have to be a one-for-one for Cat, I'm guessing.
They have to be.
Right.
Theoretically, let's just say they find a way to make the cap stuff work. Would the
I
Knicks be a
like
team
that.
that makes a lot of sense?
I think so. I think that makes a lot of sense. Jalen Brunson, Devin Booker backcourt with the wings that they have, if they're able to kind of consolidate.
Let's say they do. Let's say they do. Jalen Brunson, Devin Booker, OG Anunoby, Cat, and just any center.
That should be second best team in the East with what's going on next year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really good team. I mean, Devin Booker is really good. He had a really off. I think
He's a great player. Yeah.
he had a down season last year. Phoenix was also, to me, the worst culture in the league. You watch them, and they were just. I'm not blaming this on any player. It's just you can watch them.
The Suns fans are blaming. Most of the Suns fans are blaming it on Kevin Durant. So
right,
but
yeah, but I'm not blaming on KD. It's just you watch them, and it's clear they had zero belief in whatever they were doing. This is roster down, but no, Devin Booker would be helpful. I thought Houston would go after Booker. Honestly, I thought that was the guy that they would maybe trade for. That was kind of the reporting a year ago. From Woj. I think that was Woj's last drop, was that Houston was kind of angling themselves to get Devin Booker or Kevin Durant. But yeah, I think Phoenix should have everything on the table. Matt Ishbia is an interesting owner. I don't think he really cares much about the community that he's adapted. Just to put it nicely. And it's sad because I think he's going to burn the house and then sell it for way more than he paid for it. And the next person coming in is going to have to extinguish everything that he's done in his short time. But
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what that situation ends up being. But the reason why I wanted to propose that trade is because I think it's something that might be an avenue that the Lakers can pursue. I have some other ideas that I won't share just yet, but I think that one is probably the most immediate one. If you're the Lakers, you can do that. You can probably consolidate and create some of the minutes. Now it becomes a high touch, low touch thing. If now your high touch players are getting balanced out and low touch players you have like the right balance of those guys in the group, now I think you're in a great situation. And high touch, low touch is a great way to describe on just another layer of how we think about basketball on this. Obviously, we talk about defensively oriented, offensively oriented, what skill you have, what skill you don't have, what athleticism is lacking in life. There's so many ways to spice it up. But I think the Lakers are running into a situation now with the addition of Marcus Smart that they have too many guys that require touches to be impactful on the floor. And between Rui, LaRavia, Dalton, you have to consolidate somewhere. which is on top of already having Austin, Braun, and Luka and Ayton. And I feel like we keep forgetting to put Ayton in these conversations. That is a guy who is going to get his touches. Like they didn't sign him to not give him his touches. So now that we need less touch guys, lower touch guys who can be high impact guys. And I think that is the shift in dynamic that the Lakers have to have. Is that a fair way to put it?
I think so. Again, I think if you just have Luka, Austin, and LeBron on your team, the touches that are going around are already pretty much devolved into those three. It's going to be shared between them. And then from there, you can kind of, you're going to have to dose those out to Rui and other guys. But I like the way you put that, guys who need less touches. And I think that's what everyone's kind of looking for. It's why a guy like OG Anunoby makes $45 million a year, whatever it is. It's because he doesn't need a lot of plays called for him, and he's just brilliant at everything else that he does. Another guy that was at Summer League, strangely, was hanging out with the Toronto people. I thought that was interesting. Was
OG was?
Yeah, he was like in the Toronto. He was like obviously longtime Raptor, as well. But guy was trying to be, incognito. Was not working because he's a huge dude. So
I was like, bro, you're 6'9", you can't be incognito.
He's in a hoodie.
We were at the Win today. I'll leave this last story because we'll conclude the pod after this. But we were at the Win. We were waiting to go eat. We're gonna have lunch at the Win before our flight. And AJ DeBansa, while I was walking by, I think with his dad, and my brother's just like, "Oh, is that AJ?" And I turned and I looked around. And I looked behind me and I couldn't see because his back was turned to me. I was just like, it might be, because I was like, he was like 6'8", 6'9", or something like that. I was like, this dude's huge, so he must be. And then we found out later that it was him because he was at the games. I think he did an interview and stuff like that. So and obviously expected to be the number one pick or almost the number one pick in next year's draft. So again, it was always a cool time in Summer League, seeing random people and seeing players and agents. Saw Ty Lue again. That was also interesting to see. Saw Damon Jones. I won't tell you where I saw them, but I saw them. So that was funny. But it was a good time. Raj, any other thoughts? Any news that we missed?
I'm trying to think. I don't think so. Went through the Marcus Smart, obviously Aiden. We discussed already Laravia.
Yes.
We didn't get to see our first round pick play in Summer League. I do TRO. Did not get to see him play. Did not get to see him play. The other guy, Eric Dixon, share some news actually. So it was reported that he was signed to our two-way, but he actually never signed the two-way.
Oh my gosh!
So we have two two-way spots open.
Okay. I
would say, again, I'm being nice here. I would say we have three because Trey Jameson currently occupies that two-way spot. Yeah. I do not think he will continue to occupy that two-way spot.
Yes, I agree with you.
I think he would just be back. Now, like maybe they might just keep him as ex person we need when things go wrong. But so I'm guessing we have three two-way spots to give out, which is a lot. That's three more roster spots. Just want to contextualize that for people. So the regular roster has 15 roster spots. The NBA has allowed 3 two-way spots that you can also add onto your roster. So to be some signings and stuff like that come in. But busy week. And
on a personal note, for Trey Jameson, I did everything I could to make him a household name for Laker fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gave me a few good moments that I could really share with the timeline, specifically in that Indiana Pacers game where he went on a full rampage, wrestling that entire team midway through the game. So I do appreciate that, but I couldn't do anything for him on the court. So that's as much as I can do because I know I'm saying this right now, Raj, because I know there's agents that watch us and they're like, yeah. So like, if you're one of those agents and you want us to like, really promote your guy in a way that you think may be helpful for the Lakers, we'll do that. But when he gets on the floor, if your client gets on the floor and it turns into a low light thing, I can't do anything for you, brother. You gotta work it out yourself. So I hope, we'll see what happens with him.
Yeah, he should be on the wall of every because we've all played basketball with football players who just absolutely can't forget that they're playing football. And so sometimes you just got to remember basketball has a little bit more finesse to it. Trey, don't need to throw a guy on the ground when you got an open rebound. Last guy, I just want to say, I thought Koloko had a pretty strong Vegas Summer League. Another guy that I hope I think he's eligible for a two-way one more year. So if the Lakers want to, they can give him a two-way. I don't think Koloko wants to be on a two-way, but in a sense, another player that I think is a rotation level guy. But yeah, it was fun seeing Trey in Vegas. Just never changed. Trey, just an absolute delight to watch.
Be who you are, man. Just be who you are. I respect people who are just like, you know what, this is how I played. This is how I got here. This is
Yeah,
what I'm gonna do. So it's just like, I get it. I totally understand. But I did my best, Raj. For
you
him.
did.
So I hope his
Yes.
agent appreciates it. But anyways, Raj, we've caught up on a ton of stuff. We didn't even talk about the Bron stuff and the whole war zone that the timeline turned into when he decided not to comment on his contract situation and all that sort of stuff. I selfishly am happy that we didn't do that because I think I've made Bron fans mad enough over the past couple of weeks. So we'll let that live for a little bit longer before I decide to poke the bear yet again. But we covered so much, and we're going to see what happens. You know, if the Lakers do decide to make a consolidation trade to maybe balance out the roster a little bit more, offense, defense, high touch, low touch, whatever it's supposed to be. I certainly think that they need to probably add some more defensive bodies that they can trust. I don't like the idea of us relying on, outside of Marcus Smart, relying on a healthy Vando or an improved Vando or even a healthy Thiero. I think that's a lot of pressure to put on a second round pick, no matter how many times you moved up. I don't think it's fair to him as a player either. So I would hope the Lakers continue to try and sniff around the league to see if they can help bolster some of those marginal parts of the team. But folks, we appreciate you. Everybody that was able to show up. We went extra long today by design because we didn't do one last week because Raj was in summer league and then I went and then I was made it back today. So we apologize for not having a stream last week, but hopefully, you know, you guys enjoyed Las Vegas Summer League. You guys have enjoyed the stream today so far. I'm sure we'll get some more Laker news as it comes up. And more speculation about who's they're going to trade for and all that sort of stuff. But as always, we appreciate you. We hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday evening or a wonderful day whenever you're listening to this, or a wonderful evening whenever you're listening to this. If you get a chance, head over to YouTube. You can like, share, subscribe. If you feel, you can also join the Detailers Club. Raj, our Detailers Club has doubled in size, and it has been awesome because it means I spend less time on Twitter arguing with people and more time having real deep Laker conversations with folks. So if you'd like to do that, you can always go join Detailers Club over on the YouTube channel, and I'll add you over in the Detailers Club Discord, and you can help support Raj and I on the pod too as well. So as always, folks, we appreciate you. We hope you have a wonderful day. And if nothing else, we'll catch you in the next one. Take it easy.
Peace.